the best VJ shoe ever made. We break down the VJ Ultra 3 here on today's episode of Conversational Pace. Finn, how are you doing today?
Great to be back. First time recording in April. Spring tidings. How about you?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, dude, I'm going on vacation tomorrow, but we'll record a single track episode hopefully in a few days. So
wait, is the weather ever that bad to leave Ashland at any time of year?
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago. But right now it's like 60 and sunny out, but it's not 85 and sunny. So, and I'm not near the ocean.
That's true.
You're really not near the ocean, actually.
Lake Bonneville used to be here like 10,000 years ago.
Yeah. So, okay.
Sorry, that was a solid reference.
that doesn't do you any good right now. So, yeah, I need to go touch the ocean. But we got the Ceviche. We got the Ceviche Ultra 3. We got the VJ Ultra 3 here. And before we get going, just want to let everyone know that these shoes were provided to us by VJ and Running Warehouse, but we're under no financial obligation to say whether we like a product or not, because we want to keep these reviews authentic and beneficial for you. No one will get to preview or watch this footage before it gets published to YouTube. Quick rundown of the specs of the shoe. 190 US dollars. My pair in a US men's size 10 came in at 9.8 ounces or 278 grams. We're looking at 29 millimeters of stack in the forefoot and 37 millimeters in the heel, making for an 8 millimeter drop. The upper is a pretty thin. Again, the theme of 2025 shoes is the open weave construction, where it's like an engineered mesh, but it's not tight knit. So it's a little bit more spaced out weave, single layer engineered mesh. We do have a pretty beefy like TPU toe cap. The overlay does extend along both the edges of the shoe, kind of like bathtub style. We also have an overlay up along the eyelets, help give it a little more structure. And then we have VJ's classic fit lock arch wrap along the medial side. We've got a very thin tongue with no additional padding. Actually, I forgot to even look if it was gusseted. Oh, it's like the gusset that doesn't wrap around the midfoot, but instead just kind of sews right into the eyelets. Yep. So it's mostly just like a debris gusset, but you don't get like the additional midfoot wrap.
Pretty secure too.
Yeah, definitely pretty secure. I guess some shoes need that full gusset and some just don't. And, I think with VJ already having this fit lock arch thing, they didn't need to do the full wrap. But anyways, we've got this this kind of interesting material on the inside of the heel cup. It's very grippy. It's like almost like this micro suede type material, but it's definitely got some like stick to it, which definitely feels purposefully placed. We've got a thin. Oh god.
Did you get a tech sheet, by the way, with the shoe? Because I couldn't find the names of the materials on the site. So
I did get a tech sheet, but it was not much more going on than just the website. So, but yeah, so we've got the material on the back. We got thin padding in the ankle collar and the heel cup, and we don't have any like plastic or like rigid pieces in the heel, but just some additional starchy material, which gives it kind of a moderate amount of stiffness. The midsole is an all-new foam compound to VJ called Superfoamance. It like reads better than it says. That's actually the first time I've ever said it out loud, and probably going to be the last. Finn, you want to give it a try?
Superfoamance.
Oh boy, it's a supercritical nitrogen infused EVA.
I'm just picturing the boardroom where that was crafted in.
There's like that one meme of like they're like all have all these like really fancy names, and there's the dude in the corner who's like, "What about Superfoamance?" And then he gets tossed out the window. Well, it's foam. It's nitro EVA. There is a rock plate towards the bottom of the foot, which is a protective rock plate, not for propulsion or anything like that. The outsole is the classic VJ butyl rubber. Best grip on the planet is their tagline. Whether we still agree with them or not, we will dive into 4mm lugs. Finn, what kind of testing mileage did you get in this one?
62 miles in the Salt Lake City foothills and surrounding areas. Few key runs to note. 19 miles on Antelope Island trails, with 14 of those at 50K pace to test sort of my speed endurance in the shoe. Actually did a faster 20-minute portion, sort of threshold session earlier today, equal mix of uphill and downhill. I went to a specific section of the Bonneville Shoreline Trail here in Salt Lake where on the downhill portion it's quite switchbacked, and I wanted to get a sense of sort of the snappiness of this shoe, and at the same time how the outsole performed, sort of stabilizing me descending those switchbacks. And then another notable run, I got one hike in on Mount Wire, kind of ran up the spine of it, 30 to 40% grade both ways. Again, mostly out of curiosity to test just like the fit of this shoe and how the outsole performed in those conditions as well. How about you?
Nice. What's the name of the dude in The Price is Right? Bob Barker?
Bob Barker.
Bob Barkered you. 65 miles,
Oh,
Finn.
man.
65 miles, 13 hours, 12.8 thousand feet of vert. I did one treadmill run, one road run, a handful of hikes with my son, who is almost 20 pounds now, one long run, a few like uphill, downhill trail workouts, and then the rest was all like around an hour easy runs. So, you know, kind of like yourself, a splattering of everything, which I feel like is just like whether the shoe's built for all of those things or not. It's cool to you know, force all of that type of running into the shoe, because sometimes you figure out that a shoe is actually better for one thing than another, and you would have never tried it otherwise.
Yeah, and anytime I see a shoe with supercritical foam, I was telling you offline, like I want to bring that shoe through workout paces, because like you think of other comparable shoes, like the Hoka Tecton X3 that we reviewed earlier or like last year. Like I just want to see how the foam performs in those settings.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and you know, this is by far the softest VJ shoe that they've ever made. Like the VJ Max 2 is I think the last one that we did. We've done the Max 2 and the Ultra 2. And I mean, I don't even go into like comparisons between the Ultra 2 and the Ultra 3. They're two completely different shoes. But the Max, wait, did we ever actually review the Max 2, or did I just run it?
You did a solo review maybe.
Maybe I never actually reviewed it, but TLDR, because it doesn't exist, the shoe is fine. But yeah, I guess it was not quite worth reviewing, but this one is. Yeah, like I guess to start with the upper, let's touch upon the upper for a bit. We were both texting back and forth, noting that for a shoe that's, you know, supposed to be meant for like ultra distances, it had a lot of like almost like sub ultra materials, which was a little bit confusing. What did you think of just kind of the balance of materials up top?
So I think there's a little bit of an identity crisis going on here, because VJ likes to bill itself with these uppers as having more of a precision fit, and yet this is what they're marketing as an ultra shoe. Typically with these shoes that you're able to wear theoretically for, you know, many hours or even days on end, you're looking at a more generous fit, or you're wanting a more generous fit, a more plush, more comfortable fit. They do market that. They say that this is their most generous fit to date. I still think they're holding on with a lot of their design choices here to this more precision sub-ultra fit, because the longest run that I did in this shoe was about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I was ready to take the thing off. I mean, these materials, yes, like if you look at it, it's pretty breathable, it's airy, like those are some pros. But man, just the way it was creating some pressure points on the top of my feet. It's kind of a harsh material.
It's a little starchy still.
It's a little starchy. Like I think the last time we reviewed a VJ shoe, I said that like the upper created this sort of like cavernous airplane hanger feel, and this is better. This latest model is better, but it still kind of has that starchiness to it.
Yeah, I agree. Where it's like the upper is cool because it doesn't have any stretch or any give, and like once it took me a couple runs to get the lacing dialed in because there's no stretch. Like I over tightened it the first time, and then the second time I went too far in the other direction. It was too loose. But then once it started to settle in just a little bit, like, and the lockdown going down steep stuff, I thought was incredible. Like
Yes.
no foot movement at all. But one of the expenses of that is a little bit of comfort, just across, like when you lift up your toes and you like touch the top of the toe box, it's like a little scratchy. You and I both commented that the extra thick overlay that makes, the eyelets, when you bend the forefoot, sometimes there's like two like corners at the very bottom. They kind of can sometimes dig into the
Exactly.
toes.
The
It's like
Sirac did
those
that to
little
me too.
things. Yeah, it's like those little things, are usually fine for a couple hours, especially like if you're racing. It's like, yeah, just suck it up and go for it. But if I'm going to be in this shoe for like 24 plus hours, I don't want there to be any of those sorts of things going on. And to kind of piggyback on what you said about the fit, I feel like heel and midfoot are like relatively snug. This forefoot shape was actually very nice. It feels like, like the race last for Ultra, like the Mont Blanc Carbon, like it's still a square toe box, but the whole shoe's kind of skinny. That's what this fit very much reminded me of,
Yes.
or like some of the narrower Topo models.
The Pursuit,
It's
maybe.
like, yeah, or like the Mountain Racer.
Yeah.
Even some of the road shoes are kind of like that too, like the Spectre. But you do get good toe splay. You just got to make sure you're good with like not having a high volume midfoot or heel,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's still like very much like you're in it until you get to the forefoot.
I want to reiterate what you said about the creasing towards like the bottoms of the toes. I got that big time in this shoe. I also got it in the normal Sirac, so that was weird. I loved the heel collar. I liked the level of padding in the heel collar. I
I
thought
like
that was
this
great.
material too.
I liked the material, like you said, super
Yeah.
secure fit. So there were some things I liked about the upper, but yeah, that area around the top of the midfoot, it was problematic for me.
There was someone who messaged me. It was either on Instagram or in the Patreon. Where are we going with this shoe? Oh, someone in the Patreon messaged and said that they got some ankle bruising on the ankle collar because it's thinner and it's a little stiff. They said it was, reminded them of like the original La Sportiva Prodigio, and I can totally see how that could happen. But I will say I did not get any ankle irritation in this
Neither did
shoe.
I.
So that definitely had me scared because I did do a 2 hour run in these, and that part was comfortable. Oh, lengthwise, I thought this is a size 10, and VJ's had a few. Their sizing, if there's some of their shoes, have been a little bit all over the place, but this one felt like actually true to size
Agree. True to size.
for me. So that was nice that you just get your regular size in this shoe. Let's move on to the midfoot, the midsole, and the outsole, and just kind of the ride. I think we're on the same page now because it was funny. Yeah, yeah. Right before we started recording, we had two completely opposite takes on the midsole foam, but I think we figured out why we're both saying what we said. So I thought this midsole foam was super soft and really mushy.
And I thought that it was super firm. I was like shocked at how firm this was for supercritical foam, and I was wondering if it was because of the rock plate. But I think we both agreed on.
Yeah, that it's in fact, Finn, you're saying it's super firm because you are completely bottoming out
I think I'm bottomed
and
out.
bottomed out. You've basically packed out the shoe in 60 miles.
Yes.
And mine is nearly packed out in 60 miles. So very soft, supercritical EVA. Turns out there is such a thing as too soft a supercritical EVA because I noticed over my testing that I felt like the shoe was breaking down at about a rate of like 3 to 1. So I've got 65 miles on it, but it feels like it has closer to 200 because there's like significant creasing on the midsole, and I you showed me yours, and it was the same deal where you had a ton of creasing. We both like felt the inside of the shoe, and there was, both of us had a pretty significant indentation of our foot, and
Yes.
then just like squeezing the forefoot this way, like it shouldn't just like taco like this that easily. So we both came to the conclusion that even though we both only ran 60-ish miles in our shoes, they're actually significantly more worn than 60 miles should be.
Also, before I forget, we should put this on. This is a Brett Hornig quote: "Foam this soft shouldn't feel this firm."
There you go. And that's because turns out the foam isn't firm. It's because you're just running on the ground. So it brings up like a huge durability red flag with the midsole foam, because the first few runs though, I thought the softness felt pretty nice. But you said you thought it felt firm from the get-go, and I wonder if that's just the differences in basically our weights as runners.
Yeah,
Like you were just bottoming out the suspension from the get-go, and I was getting a little bit, but now for me it's gone.
exactly. So, do you think like
yeah.
the answer here is just add carrier foam? What are you thinking?
I mean, you could do like a carrier foam, but like I just don't really think there's such much point in a carrier foam of an EVA. Like maybe if this was a PIBA or like an actual like super foam material, because at the end of the day, it's still an EVA, and a PIBA this soft. Like I would say the Tecton X3 is almost this soft, but because it's PIBA, it can just handle the impact, because just the structure and the material, like chemical breakdown of PIBA versus EVA. Like that's why that foam costs more. That's why you see it in the super shoes, because it can stand up to mileage at this softness better. That's why like Brooks Flash Foam, their nitro infused EVA, that's why it's on the firmer side. People complain about it being too firm all the time. Well, guess what? This is what happens when you make it too soft.
Yeah.
It breaks down in 60 miles. So it was definitely interesting because I thought it felt awesome. But then on the faster workouts, I felt like it almost felt kind of dead feeling, because I wasn't getting much rebound, because it was just sucking up all the energy and not giving anything back. I like the shape of the shoe. I actually like I think it's very comfortable jogging in. When you kind of eliminate the midsole foam feel, like I like the shape and the geometry of the foam in this midsole.
Yeah, more rockered than historically other VJ shoes.
Definitely. It's got like a nice heel bevel as well. I thought the rock plate was nice. Like I could definitely still feel the ground, but I did get decent rock protection. So what is this shoe best for then? It's called the Ultra 3. So it was supposed to be for ultras, but we both think that this upper is a little bit too performance oriented, but it's got really soft, like almost ultra marathon type foam.
Unintentionally, the other single use performance trail shoe on the market, or performance shoe on the market, that one Adidas shoe, the $500 shoe that they was like billed as single use. This is almost like a single use shoe, unintentionally.
Yeah, except with the Adidas single use shoe, you get like significant performance enhancing benefits.
I know. Sorry. Maybe we should.
No, we're keeping that. If I did have, like, I do think this shoe is still best for the long, slow distances. I didn't love going really fast in it. I loved going fast in it from an upper standpoint, but from a midsole standpoint, I didn't like the way it felt trying to go fast. I felt like I was wasting energy. But like plodding along at like 100-mile pace, I thought his shoe actually did feel pretty nice. Let's talk about the outsole. Dude, VJ still makes the best outsoles in the game.
100%. They should get into the outsole business and compete with Vibram.
I agree. I think they should just be slapping their rubber on other people's, tires.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I didn't bring it through any inclement weather, except for a little bit of like springtime mud, a few puddles, but like missed winter season in the shoe, so I didn't bring it, on Grandeur for any of the snowpack. But
I did some mud, and it was fantastic in the mud, and on like the dry hard pack stuff. Like, dude, this, and I will say, like, 60 miles, like I've still got the little nubbies on these outsoles. Like,
me too.
I mean, I guess we could talk about. Oh, would you race in it?
No.
I would consider first run or second run in these shoes. I would have considered like a 100-mile or something. But then with how quickly the foam's breaking down, I'd get really nervous if I was to wear this shoe for the entirety of 100 miles, because I feel like it might be pretty pancaked after like 8 to 10 hours continuous running. That makes me nervous.
Yep.
But like, shoot, from a durability standpoint, Dude, this outsole, this is a 1,000-mile outsole.
1,000 mile outsole.
Like,
And then, I mean, just to give the shoe other like credits, I think it's a good looking shoe. I like the colorways.
what about mine?
I actually like it. It's okay.
Dude, it is so green.
I like this navy orange and white. I think it looks good. And then I don't think it's too overbuilt. Like it's a kind of a svelte shoe for a higher stack shoe. It's kind of svelte. I like it.
I do think for any like smaller framed runners out there, or if you have a very high cadence, this shoe could actually last a little bit longer. You know, if you are a runner that's on the smaller side and a lot of shoes piss you off because they're too firm, this would be worth trying because this is going to be too soft for most people. So there will be a handful of people that are going to absolutely love this shoe.
I'm pulling up my cadence here just to yeah, like I just looked at the cadence for my last 5 runs in this shoe, 165.
Yeah, that's like, I would say that's average. But like if you're a 180 plus 190 type person, this could be a decent option for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't race in it either for that reason. And yeah, durability wise, I mean, the biggest red flag here is the midsole, which is how soft it is and how quickly it's breaking down. Because like I feel like the upper's gonna hang on just fine, and the outsole is gonna last forever, but it's just this midsole.
I would say it's overall, given what we've seen from the VJ line, it's a step forward for them from a quality standpoint. Like this is the
Absolutely.
best.
This is
shoe that I've
not a
ever
step
seen.
backwards. This is
Not a
still the
step
best VJ shoe ever. Because I think if I had to choose, I would still take an overly soft midsole that packs out sooner rather than a rock hard midsole that just never changes and is always uncomfortable. So there's that. Let's wrap things up with value and like a couple competitor shoes that I wrote down is so it's $190. That's kind of expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I would say 160. It would be the price point where I'm like, that's reasonable. That makes sense.
Yeah, because so a shoe that I believe is 180 or 190 that just came out that's in our review hopper that similar is the Ultra Mont Blanc Speed. Similar fit, just zero drop, but it's got the Ego Pro foam. I'm excited to review that one because it's a cool shoe. But that was a competitor that's lined up very similar from a pricing standpoint. Another shoe that I wrote down that I feel like this was supposed to be lining up against very directly is the Nike Wild Horse.
How come the Wild Horse?
The Wild Horse, even though it's on the narrower side, it does still have a squared off toe box, and it's kind of a moderate stack shoe. It's not mushy. I feel like this wasn't supposed to be mushy. And you can do all things in the Wild Horse pretty well. We haven't gotten the newest Wild Horse 10 in yet, but like going to the previous Wild Horse 8, yes, they skipped the 9, but the previous Wild Horse 8 had, a thinner mesh upper. But that shoe was like $130.
Yeah.
But it's like all of those elements that this shoe has, I feel like the Wild Horse has too. And then the big increase is durability. This has a better outsole, but I thought I wanted to write like 2 competitor shoes to this VJ Ultra 3 that are on like 2 opposite ends of the pricing spectrum.
Are we going to be doing the Wild Horse anytime soon?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Don't have them in yet, but I think they will be soon. Any other final thoughts on this one?
No, I think it's the only other thing I would say is I feel like we have a couple, at least for the channel, relatively exotic brands on the docket, and VJ being one of them.
Bentley. Oh.
And it's cool. It's cool to see what some of these other brands outside of the Hokas and the Ultras and the Solomons are putting down.
Yep, definitely. And
exciting time.
If a shoe with like a race car upper and a forever outsole and a really soft midsole that's like right up your alley. Oh yeah, square toe box. Feel free to use our links in the show notes below to get this shoe from our friends at Running Warehouse. If your local run specialty shop does not have them, your purchase helps us continue to run in these shoes and try and get you the highest quality trail shoe reviews. Subscribe to the Patreon for bonus content and hat discounts apparently. But what's next? Yeah, well, maybe we'll tease it.
Yeah.
we'll see what's next. I think people on Patreon know what's next.
Ooh. Go sub to the Patreon. If you've gotten any value from this channel, go sub to the Patreon. Seriously. Sorry, I didn't mean to digress.
Do it now.
Do it now.